Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. It's good to see you. I can't see you, but you could see me. You know why you're here. You know where you are. Let me tell you something. We've been having a blast with a lot of conversations here recently. Before I get into today's episode, I want to remind you guys, you got to go to where podcasts are offered. Leave us a 5-star rating. It's what we deserve. Leave us a review. Don't really care what you say, but I want the review. Okay. You can give some feedback, ask some questions. I do check them, or you can send me an email as well. Chad@thechadprathershow.com. We got folks checking that stuff out. We get some interesting stuff, Shy. I had somebody that called me Satan the other day. I was like, okay, all right. I don't think I got that kind of clout, but yeah, I get some interesting stuff from time to time. I got one 2 days ago that I'm not going to repeat, just not going to repeat because immediately we'll get censored, but such as it is. No, most of the stuff we get is positive. It's great. We're having a good time. If you want to have a lot of fun, go to watchchad.com. I tell people when I go to, I went to the doctor the other day, Shy, and they were like, we need your email address. And I said, it's chad@watchchad.com. And they were like, what is Watch Chad? And I said, the most vain URL web address that you could possibly have, right? I said, it sounds like an OnlyFans deal. But as we know, I am my only fan. Head over to watchchad.com. Find me out on the road. We're doing a ton of live shows, finishing the year strong, and we're already booking way out into 2025. So if we're not in your city yet, stay tuned. We'll be there. Joining me today is a guy that I'm super proud to know, and I'm so excited to watch all the different things that he's doing. And you guys know him. You've known him for a long, long time. And if you're paying attention to anything, you're pretty excited about the direction he's headed, not only with life, but career as well. He's producing some incredible stuff. My buddy, Brian Kelley. Brian, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, Chad. How about you, brother?
Man, I'm good. I'm ready for fall. It's
Same.
100,000 degrees in Texas, you know?
Yep. Same here in
And
Florida, man.
well, you're a beach guy. You know, I know that about you. You're one of these. You're a coastal dude. So I guess you're supposed to have a little bit of heat all the time. But you know, people have known you for a long time as as half of the party there with Florida Georgia Line. You're doing your own thing these days, and I'm excited to see it. But you know what? Before I get into any of the real important stuff, can I just tell you something that created a huge fan of me for you? And it'll be something you don't expect. Okay, you ready for this? And I want to know the story behind it. The Ballad of Uncle Drink. That is a musical ballad podcast. What was that, like 2 years ago that came out? Because I found it. I don't know how I found it.
Yeah. I don't know how I got involved with it, but I read it and found out a little bit about it and saw the vision. I was like, hell yeah, I'm in.
I think it was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 episodes of this thing that tells the story of this, drug abusing, margarita drinking, Jimmy Buffett type character who's just a hard partying dude with 9 wives and illegitimate kids, but just a hit maker. But you guys, I mean, there were original songs in it. You were a part of it. You were a voice. I loved that thing. I told people about it. I was all the time. I was on this show. Back when I was on the Blaze, I was like, I have found this podcast. Everybody's got to go listen to it. So,
and I appreciate that. That's cool to hear. I didn't expect that, but that was a fun break from anything normal that I've done, and getting to be a part of something fresh, funny, a little wild, and it was a good time, man. They came down here and we did it in my little studio here in Grayton Beach, Florida, and we were laughing all the way through it, man. So I appreciate that. I kind of forgot that was out.
Well, I had forgotten it too, and just recently, the other day, you and I were having a little text conversation, and I go, "Dadgummit, I forgot Brian was a part of the Ballad of Uncle Drink. Like, he was the main dude who was kind of telling the story, walking through the story." And so I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I went back and I was looking at that. Like, honestly, I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to it again. Will Sasso and Chelsea Lynn and so many people that were involved in that thing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And some of the songs in it are just bangers,
Low-key bangers, man. They worked really hard on that soundtrack and just having fun with it. It was, they came over to our house in Nashville at the time, and I think we wrote 1 or 2 songs. I think there's a song that didn't make the record for some reason, but it's still hanging around. Who knows if there's going to be another round of Uncle Drink, but I wouldn't mind being a part of it.
I'll tell you what, throw my name in the hat. I want to. I want to come
I
be a
got
part of
you.
that, dude.
I got you.
I fell in love with that podcast. But anyway, folks
That's
need to
funny.
check it out. You're a songwriter. I don't know. I don't know. You know how many folks know that. I know when people think of Florida Georgia Line, they think of a huge performance base kind of a. You know, there's so many descriptive ways to think of what you guys did that, in my opinion, created a whole new aspect in the country music genre. But I don't know that people realize so much of you being a songwriter, but you are.
Yeah.
And you know, since you kind of jumped out and are doing the solo thing, and I'm hugely excited about what all you've been doing. But you've got the album that came out just this year, Tennessee Truth.
Yes, sir.
And that's an incredible album, man.
I
Tell me
appreciate
about the process of walking into that thing as a solo artist, you know, the creative process
it. Yeah.
and what you think about giving birth to that thing. Hey guys, you know, everybody wants to feel healthy and energetic, but let's be honest, a lot of us are kind of running on fumes, and the whole exercising and eating right thing is just another thing that you're trying to add to your to do list. But I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be that hard. That's why I take Field of Greens. I do it every day. It's whole organic fruits and vegetables. There's no extracts in it. There's no additives, no lab made stuff. Just a scoop a day is going to give you simple, real nutrition. I love Field of Greens. It's going to feed your body with the fruits and vegetables that are medically chosen to support your heart, your vital organs, and your immune system. I'm telling you, I know the difference. As much as I travel, as much as I'm on the road, I have to eat on the road. I know when the Field of Greens isn't in my system. I know when it's there because it makes me feel completely different and good. You can trust me on that. I've been talking about Field of Greens for a lot of years, and because it is an essential part of my life and lifestyle. So I want you to get that steady energy throughout the day. I don't want you to have those afternoon crashes. I want you to sleep better. You know, I want your stomach to feel better. Folks, Field of Greens, it really is sort of miraculous. So they're my go-to for getting the nutrients that I need, and I want you to have them as well. You're going to love Field of Greens. But if you don't, guess what? You can return it for full refund. Right now, I got you 15% off your first order and free rush shipping. Visit fieldofgreens.com, and you know the drill. Use promo code CHAD. I spell it Chad. Promo code Chad, fieldofgreens.com. That's fieldofgreens.com.
Yeah, for that record, I posted up in Nashville the majority of the time over the past year and a half or so. Wrote the majority of the songs in Nashville and just invited any and everybody to come create. And we wrote a ton of songs for that season of life, for that record. And, you know, man, I really learned a lot about myself in writing with, you know, brand new people I've known for a long time. I told my team, I said, hey, if there's somebody you think I need to write with, whether they got hits or not, I don't care. I'm up for the challenge. I want to show up and see what we can get. So I kind of put myself through the ringer there and just took my time and just found, you know, I wrote co-wrote 8 out of the 12 songs on that
Mm.
record and found 4 other songs that really kind of helped shape and, you know, complete the record. A highlight for me was getting to work with Dan Huff, who's a legendary producer, one of the goats of guitar playing. You know, he can kind of do it all. And what I loved about him, you know, as a producer and a player, selfishly, I wanted him to do some solos on the record and not only produce it, but been a big fan of his because he can produce anybody from, you know, Lone Star Rascal Flats to Kane Brown, Thomas Rhett, and he's really great at finding everybody's unique brand sonically and making everybody different. And I thought that was really cool. And he's just a great guy. So we cut vocals over at his house. He lived like 2.5 miles from our spot. So it was just really casual, man. It was like we'd made records before. And it was really, I mean, you know, sometimes it's not easy, you know, arriving at songs and production and some things come up, but you know, for me and him working together, it was just really easy. It was like fun. It was like we have the songs and they kind of spelled themselves out to us in the studio, like what they should sound like, what they should be like. And you know, some of Nashville's top, you know, recording musicians on this record, some great players who have played on massive hits, are all over this record. And to shout out all the great songwriters, co-writers, collaborators, man, it was just, you know, it took a bit to arrive at this project, but I'm really proud of just pushing myself and man, you find out who you are when you're just in it. You're grinding. There's days where, I've got a song started, I've got the title, feeling great. I bring that in, we finish it, and you're doing that 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row, and you're writing 2 or 3 songs a day sometimes. And there's moments where you show up and you're like, man, I don't have any good ideas in my notes in my phone. I don't feel inspired. It's just, but you trust yourself, yourself, and man, if you just hang around long enough and you talk
Mm,
about life and you just connect, or maybe you turn on some other music just to get outside of your own head, uh, a good idea is going to pop up. And most songwriters, we know what to do with a good idea. It's just, how do you get to a good idea, right? And so just the
yeah.
patience, and the grind. And I love that record. I appreciate uh, I appreciate
No,
that you like it, man.
it's a great record. And I've had it on repeat now for a while, and it's on my playlist. And these days, a good friend of mine, Chuck Floyd, who is also one of my attorneys, but he was a singer songwriter in Nashville for a number of years, and decided that he needed to pay some bills, and so he focused more on his law practice. But he's written some great songs, and he and I were having lunch not long ago, and he said something that really was profound to me. He said, it's really not even about music genres anymore. It's about what's on the playlist, because you can have Eminem next to 50 Cent, next to Conway Twitty, next to, and if that's on their playlist, if that's the favorites, then that's what's getting, the attention. I don't know how many people think of genres anymore, because you guys, when y'all were doing Florida Georgia Line, and y'all were pivotal, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. And I know a lot of people probably gave y'all some hard times because you were so different from what people think of as traditional country music, right? In
Yeah,
terms of Willie, Waylon George, Merle,
yeah,
Conway, and the other George,
yeah.
and Tammy and Dolly, and so on. Uh, did that affect you at all? Like when you guys came on the scene? And listen, I'll be honest with you, it's hard to really care what anybody is saying when you're counting money. That's a pretty good perk on the side, and you're packing out stadiums. But did that bother you at all when people sort of said,
Not
"Oh, this is such a break from traditional country music"?
Man, not really. We were working so hard, and really the thing that was tangible that we could see and hear, and it was right in front of us, was, when we would show up at shows, was the
Mm,
fans. From day one, it was just something that we were building and growing. And so you might read a couple comments or a bad couple articles, people may have their take, but that's gonna happen whether I own a restaurant or I run the local Ace Hardware. There's gonna be people that are not gonna see eye to eye with what I'm doing or what somebody's doing in their business, especially when it comes to art, especially when it comes to music. But man, it was just a hell of a ride. Looking out every night to amazing fans, connecting, living those songs out night after night, and growing something unique and special was more than enough to not let outside comments of people that you don't even know
right.
bother us and bother me, right? So
That's
and kind of,
good.
yeah, man, and even more so, putting Make America Great Again out as a solo artist. I've just it feels good to just really release even more so, any worry, any being scared of what people are going to think. It feels better to live free. It feels better to live authentically. It feels better to let people know where I stand and who I am. That's one of the best parts about being a solo artist, is i
Yeah.
can i can I can fully be me, and I'm not representing another half of another family, another duo partner, and how people see that. I'm representing just me and my family, and I think that's freaking awesome.
Hey guys, I want to welcome back to the program one of our old friends, Fume. I don't know if you've heard it or not, but the flavored air category, yeah, that's a thing. It's quickly becoming a leading alternative to vaping and smoking. Yeah, it's a whole new movement towards better habits led by Fume themselves. Listen, we've all got bad habits. I've got some, you've got some, we've all got some. And so let's talk about bad habits. Sometimes you're out with friends and they're all reaching for those bad habits, and you feel the urge to not be left out. So you reach for your bad habit, or you try to borrow one of theirs. Well, what if I was to tell you there's a better alternative that will help you kick that bad habit in an enjoyable way? And it's something you can take out with you and use anywhere. Fume, it's an award-winning flavored air device. That's right, flavored air isn't like vaping. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, well, fume cores, they're closer to like herbal teas. It actually is not bad for you. Fume has lots of delicious flavors to choose from. They got the crisp mint, the orange vanilla, the flavored air. You can satisfy your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that utilizes no electronics, no vapor, no combustion. It's going to draw the flavor into your mouth. Fume's going to fill the void, ditching those bad habits that you have out there, and you can still have something to reach for when the time comes. It's not a vape. There's no vapor. You can use it anywhere. No nicotine. It's not addictive. Non-toxic flavors. It's a guilt-free alternative. No batteries. You don't even have to charge the thing. And guess what? If you're like me, you can fidget with it. That's right. It's going to calm the anxiety, give you something to do with your hands. It's got the magnets, got the snaps, got the clicks. Check it out. Fume continually invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products, and Fume is backed by doctors in the U.S. Now, here's what I want you to do. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be their next success story. For a limited time, use my code CHAD, I spell it Chad, to get a free gift with your journey pack. Head over to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com. Use promo code Chad. You can scan the QR code there on the screen to get a free gift with your order today. That's tryfume, F-U-M, tryfume.com/Chad. Don't forget, use promo code Chad. Hey guys, let's take a break in the show real quick. I want to tell you about my friends over at United Patriot Supply. You know, I'm a gun guy. I love my firearms. I love stockpiling my ammunition. I've got all the stuff out there, but sometimes you run into some things that are a little bit hard to find. That's when I turn to my good buddies over at UnitedPatriotSupply.com. They're not only my friends, they're partners with this show, and I'm proud to know them because they deliver. And let me tell you, when I say they deliver, if there's stuff out there you're looking for and you're having a hard time finding it, I guarantee you there's a very good chance they're going to have what you're looking for. So go out there and check them out, UnitedPatriotSupply.com. Right now, they got a deal going. When you buy a firearm, you can get up to 5 ounces of free silver with every order. So they got a silver incentive program because United Patriot Supply, they're also United Patriot Coin, and you've heard us talk about them as well. So you buy a firearm, you get silver with it. You get a free ounce of silver for every $500 you spend on guns. That's up to 5 free ounces. So you buy a $2,500 gun, guess what? You're going to get 5 pieces of silver. That's a pretty cool deal. So check it out. It's a combined promotion between United Patriot Supply and United Patriot Coin. And just get over there and get to know those guys. I tell you, you're going to love them, and they're going to be a regular stop and shop for you. So head over to UnitedPatriotSupply.com. Yeah, and I always appreciated what you guys produced. You know, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I still to this day enjoy it, listen to it.
Awesome.
It's fun music. And,
Yeah.
and I said, you know, good stuff is good stuff. We want to categorize, and we live in a label generation, right? Everybody's got to label something so they can categorize it. Then they put it on the shelf and determine if they like it or not, or they don't want to deal with it or judge it or whatever they want to do. It's like saying, you know, you have a baby and you're like, man, I had this beautiful baby, and everybody's going, man, that's an ugly baby, or, you know, something like that. It's like, I still love my baby. It's not ugly to me. And so it's like, you know, people can be assholes. And so I've tend to, you know, I try to overlook that, especially in the world of comedy, of going, hey, everything is subjective. You may not think this type of humor is funny, but you know, when you stepped out, and I do want to talk about Make America Great Again, because you are a bold dude. And let me just say, I'm thankful that you are, because, you know, I've heard, and I've heard enough stuff from you and different podcasts and different things that have been written. And I've heard the speculation from people saying, oh, yeah, Tyler and BK, they broke up over politics and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, why don't you let those two brothers deal with their own stuff and stop trying to, you know, stick a wedge in there and see if you can, you know, blow the thing up even further.
Right.
Regardless of what happened, it doesn't matter. Obviously, you just decided there was a direction you needed to go, and there's a stand you needed to take for something. And man, it's a bold stance, because these days the whole Make America Great Again concept is very, you know, it's very divisive, of course, but not necessarily on the part of the people who you know have supported Trump or say Make America Great Again, but just the emotion that it evokes in other people. It's kind of crazy.
Yep.
Are you happy you went that direction? Has it been a good process, or you know, did you kind of tiptoe into it, or kind of bull in a china shop? What was your approach to
Good
that?
question. You know, It's been amazing after releasing it. I felt a wave of love and support, and fans that already follow me, or the majority of them are like, "You go, BK. Thanks for writing and singing what we're all thinking and feeling." And then there's the MAGA base have come to my have my back. That feels amazing,
Mm,
and it's been more positive than negative. It really has, and it felt good. Here's something crazy, man. I wrote it uh, a week before the failed assassination attempt. I
hmm.
kind of started it that Saturday night, a week before, woke up the next morning, scrapped that. I said, I kind of had the idea, and I had, guitars and capos. I had my capo up on 5 or 6, and it was just, I woke up and I kind of heard a couple lines that I had, and I was like, that's too sweet. So I took my capo off, threw that thing in drop D, and just woke up, and I just started a couple lines, and I go, oh, I really like that, and just kind of kept digging on it. Spent all Sunday writing that till probably 6 or 7 at night. I woke up Monday morning, just did a look through, maybe touch up the second verse, double check some things, just kind of edit, and then I sent it off and had it demoed through my guitar player and good songwriting buddy Catlin Owen in my band. And so originally, man, to be honest with you, I pitched it to a couple different artists
Really?
that have a bigger following, that have a bigger voice than me, and I just said, hey
Wow.
boys, I kind of sent it out separately. I said, hey, I wrote this from the heart because I'm a concerned American just like you are. I said, love for you to record it if you want. And the consensus was, without other artists knowing what they were saying, they said, BK, this song's killer. You should put it out. And
Mm.
the other guy said, hey, this is great, bro. You should put this out. And people in my team, and I sent it to some friends back home, and they were all like, bro, you should put this out.
That's
And
funny.
finally, man, I just was like, you know what? I'm going to put it out. I think it's cooler maybe for people to hear from the guy that wrote it, and I just think the way that I grew up in Ormond Beach, Florida, I was holding a Ed Kelly signed Zone 4 city commissioner when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, on the corner of Dunkin' Donuts. My dad was a
Yeah.
city commissioner. He was mayor when I went to college, county chair up until the end of 2020. So on a smaller scale, yeah, I kind of grew up in a little bit of a political world. And what I learned from my parents was to be passionate, to not be afraid of what people are going to say and what people are going to think. Stand your ground, stand on your truth, and that's important for me to always look back and remember that, man. And I just kind of had enough of kind of toeing the line with who I am and what
Yeah.
I'm all about. I think I've hinted at it. I've tried to be respectful over the years, and I think that's a big thing in Nashville, to kind of, you don't want to piss anybody off, but I think those that truly know that I'm living authentically, and those that know me, most of them love me, and those that don't know me and that maybe have something to say negative, that's not my deal. That's their issue with me, not my issue. I'm going to continue to work hard, be myself, but it's been really freeing to just let go, man. And I'm only, really, I consider Tennessee Truth my debut album. So I'm really
Mm.
a real album in on this solo career. So to be able to reintroduce myself to the world as not just half of a duo, but as Brian Kelley, is really important to me. And
Yeah.
to get out there, to use my voice, to honor my voice, to honor my craft. It feels good. And at the end of the day, that's what I can hang my hat on. If I know if I'm living authentically, I'm going to sleep good at night. If I'm holding back, it's not all there. And so for me to just kind of come out and say, hey, I'm a real human. I have thoughts, feelings, emotions. I'm a true American. I'm a real concerned American. This is what I'm thinking. And this is what I feel like a lot of people are thinking and feeling as well.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of put my heart on the line and put everything that I've been thinking and feeling into a song, and I'm proud of that. I stand by that, and I think that's all you can do. But it feels good to reintroduce myself to the world, just as Brian Kelley, not half of a duo that nobody really ever heard from, and it's hard to get to know fully. A band or a group or a duo, however you shake it out, it's hard to fully get to know somebody when it's multiple people. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to do my best to speak up, speak out. That's how I was raised. That's how I'm living now, and it's important to me.
Well, I can tell you, and we got a lot of music fans that participate in this show, watch it, listen to it, and I'm telling you, And I'll say to the audience, there's nothing wrong with that song. I mean,
Appreciate
the from the words, the rhyme, the tone, the beat, the rhythm, the melody. I mean, there is nothing wrong. It is an incredible song, dude.
it.
And I'm glad they gave you that advice, because I think that's the right advice, that you need to cut that. And you know how it is whenever you're trying to cut something in a timely manner.
Yep.
If that had been delayed 3 weeks
Right.
from that time, it wouldn't have had the same punch.
Agree.
You had it timed right. We didn't know the assassination attempt was going to happen,
No idea.
but then you had the RNC that happened. Of course, we knew the Republican National Convention was coming.
Yep.
So all of those things played together for a perfect timing. And I mean, for that song to hit, how well did that thing do in terms of charting and stuff? Because it's still doing it. I mean, obviously, it's still, and I think all of my people out there that I know who write these conservative songs or put them out, like recently with Based Records, Rachel Holt put "I Was Gonna Be," which is the pro-life song that Chris Wallen wrote.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
And put that song out there, and they didn't think it was going to do anything, and boom, it got huge traction. Chris had rewritten the lyrics for Afro Man, Hunter Got High, and he didn't think that anybody was going to anybody was going to touch that, and that thing went crazy.
Oh man.
I mean, it seems to me like the public reception of it is, including some of the charting aspects with Billboard, have been pretty kind to it. Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, I hadn't seen Billboard, but I know on Country iTunes, it went as high as number 8, and
Wow.
I think this morning it's anywhere between 18 and 20. But that means a lot to me, man. And what that shows me is people are coming to have my back. They're not just
Yeah.
streaming it for free and going through ads to find my song. They're going straight to the source. They're clicking purchase. They're buying it, and they're saying, "Hey, I've got this American Patriot's back, who's standing up for what he believes in and what I believe in, and singing about what we're all thinking." So,
Yeah.
I think it was 25 all genre at a point. So,
Wow.
but it's been interesting, man. There's been a couple instances where it feels like there's been a little bit of censorship. There's been a little bit of, it's been difficult for some fans to share on Facebook. I've gotten quite a few messages saying, "Hey, it won't let me share."
Mm.
I've had a friend tell me through a band member's wife say just recently, "Hey, if I went to go, 'Hey Alexa, play Brian Kelley,' and it pulled up Brian McKnight, which I love Brian McKnight. I started singing, "One, you're like a dream come true." Yeah, I love that. I love Brian McKnight. But
I
I'm
was
trying
with
to get the
Mark.
word out there about my music too, and spread the word. And there's I think on Instagram you to try to type in "Make America Great Again." Doesn't even come up with my name. You have to type my name and the whole title. It's been Instagram. I'm sure you get this too. You scroll
Yeah.
down to the bottom of your comments and you click hidden comments, and they're all positive. I don't know why you hide positive comments, you know and I just reading
Weird.
through the through the comments and messages I'm getting. People say, "Hey man, people are trying to hold this back. I can't share it. I can't find it. It's not an easy time. No streaming services put it out under new releases. Didn't immediately playlist it like they have some of my other songs." And here's the deal: I'm not surprised, and this isn't anything new that Americans that speak up and speak out have faced. So we keep fighting. We get louder, and we love harder, and we don't
Mm.
change. We keep working, and that is what it is. So I'm not complaining. That is what it is. I expected it, but I'm gonna keep fighting to get this song out there. I'm gonna keep fighting to speak up when I feel like I need to speak up.
Well, I'm proud of you for it, and I tell you, it's funny. You know what? You know what happened to me a couple of years ago, back when before the 2020 election. Ryan Weaver and I wrote a song. I was in South Alabama. My second oldest daughter, she was at Troy University at the
Hmm.
time, and I was over there to visit her. And I was riding down. I'd flown into Montgomery, and I wrote this song called "He's Still Your President." And we put that thing out really quick independently. And to this day, it is one of the top streamed songs. And I mean,
Yep.
Trump hasn't been president for 3.5 years, but people still stream it. You know why that thing got popular? And I guarantee you, a lot of people are doing this with "Make America Great Again." With your song, is those dadgum boat parades, man. You remember
Yeah,
those
yeah.
when everybody was out there doing the boat parades and they're
Yep.
blaring their music and everybody's hearing it and they're like, "Oh, what's that song?"
Yep.
And then they go and they download it or they're
Yep.
doing it. So It's a weird phenomenon, but you know what? There's a grassroots thing, and I know you've experienced it. It's one thing when you got the executives and the publishers and the labels and the promoters and the PR and all of the management teams that are making you into this mega star. I mean, we just
Right.
cut you out of a mold and put you on stage, and you guys are rocking. That's one thing. Then when you're in there and you're doing it yourself and you're grinding and you're writing and you're praying over it and thinking
Yeah.
over it and struggling with a decision to make and you put something out, you're like, man, I don't want people to think my baby is ugly.
Right.
I kind of want people to love my baby.
Yeah.
You did a good job. And the cool thing too, Brian, is you yes, you put out a political song. That's what people are, always going to call it. It's a political song. But you stepped out first with the Tennessee Truth and built that foundation as that, like you said, that first solo record, which is legit solid music.
Thank you.
And so, because I always fear when people put something out there, I'm like, yeah, you're going to get typecast or labeled or pigeonholed or painted in a corner of just, oh, he just does political stuff. And no, I think it was for such a time as this. I really do on that.
Yeah.
So good job on that
appreciate
song,
that.
man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And the other thing that is cool about BK is you're engaged on social media. I mean, you're there. You're checking stuff out.
Yeah.
Does that come easy for you? I mean, do you want to stay tuned into that kind of stuff, or is it more of a headache?
Yeah, I'd rather stay tuned in on, communicating with fans, commenting back and forth, getting creative
Yeah.
with photos, and just I want to know what's going on. I think if you leave it up to somebody else, I think it's not gonna probably go as good. I think there's times where vacation or limiting the amount of time you're on social media, I think is important. I think you can't just be on there all the time because we got to be working. But I also think, man, that's how I'm growing my fan base. That's how I'm connecting with people. It's important to me. I'd rather be doing that than doing the dance on TikTok, though. I know that.
That's the truth. I'm about to get banned on TikTok. No, everything
Are
I
you?
put on TikTok, oh yeah, they're gonna do it. I mean, pretty much at this stage,
Did you get a warning?
everything. Oh, bro, every day.
No kidding.
At this stage, every one of those truck videos that I do, every one of those minute and a halves that I put on TikTok, they
What?
finally sent me a deal that said the other day, they said, this is it. Like, this is it. The bubble is about to pop for you.
Come on.
And I always send them the little review. Like I kind of cuss them a little bit. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you people? I'm like, come on. I mean, there's
Right.
nothing wrong with this. It's
Right.
fine on every other platform. I did nothing but tell the truth. Like they got so mad at me when I said Joe Biden's been missing for 6 days. This was before he did his little resignation thing.
Crazy.
I said, nobody's heard from him in 6 days. That's a fact.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
He's nowhere to be found,
Right. Right.
And then the whole thing where they were calling, the Trump Vance ticket weird. And I was like, well, we could talk about weird things
Right.
that's being done by these guys on the left. I was like, it's all true. It's all true. They were like, no, it's hate speech. And I was like, good Lord.
Oh my gosh. Well, they need to go to some other pages and they can find some real hate speech. That's the issue. That's the issue right there.
It is. I mean, what I just told you a second ago, or what I told the audience a second ago about the messages that I get that come in on my platforms that are calling me everything under the sun. And I'm like, listen, I really do love everybody. I mean, I try to get along with everybody in the real world.
Yep.
And I'm not out there looking for enemies or anything else. But man, just because you tell people what you think, what you believe, it's brutal.
Yeah.
We're in a weirdly historically divided country. I mean, like never before, to the point where unless God intervenes and some kind of miracle happens, this country's never coming back together in that regard. We're not united anymore. And people
Agreed.
look at folks like you and me and they say, well, you guys are doing more to divide. I ran for office. I ran for governor in the state of Texas a few years ago. And in 2022, I ran for governor in the state of Texas. It was a hard thing. And I have a lot of people in the music industry here in Texas who say, we don't agree with your politics and we, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you understand? We were in those COVID mandates when you guys couldn't go to work. Like
Right.
there were no venues, there were no concerts, there were no music halls. There was nothing open
Right.
for you guys. And y'all were, bitching and moaning online about these being shut down. I actually ran on a platform of trying to reopen things. And regardless of what you think of me, in my viewpoint, I really was doing it for you.
Right.
I'm putting my voice out there for you.
Yep.
And I say that to say this because I want your take on it. When I always laugh about Jason Aldean because sometimes I wonder if Jason really wanted to go this route or Brittany was more. It was more Brittany being pretty outspoken, and Jason was like, "Damn, I got to go too." I got to be pretty
Man, I
outspoken.
I love them and they fire me up. And honestly, man, I think for me personally, I have them to thank for
Mm,
opening the door for people like me, artists like me, fans to walk through that door and
yeah,
say, "Hey, it's okay." It's not, you can try to cancel us, but you can't cancel freedom, and we're not going to back down. And it's okay to say what you think and feel. And so
yeah,
I give props to both of them. They're good buddies. And they really have led the way. John Rich is another one. Kid Rock is another one. I was on a flight with John Rich a couple years ago, and we had a great conversation the whole flight. And he really encouraged me. Even at that time, he said, "Hey, man, don't be afraid. Don't back down. Fans want to know exactly who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for, and just live authentically. And don't worry." He goes, I just told Aldean the same thing.
hmm
And he goes, "Fans want to know, and they'll get behind you, and they're going to rally because they think and feel the same exact way you do because you're one of them."
yeah. I've known. Well, I'll say it this way: I've spent a lot of time with John. John singing harmony on a song I've got coming out in a
Come
couple of
on.
weeks. I've been in John's home. I've been on John's bus numerous times. I've spent a lot of time with John. And I know a lot of people out there who like, man, John can be a little rough around the edges, right? And I'm like, listen, John tells you exactly what he's thinking.
Yep.
He does not pull the punches. And I got a huge respect for that. And John's counseled a lot of people. He's counseled me in
Yep.
some things. And it's like, yeah, he's not here to kind of pat your bobo and help you navel gaze. He's gonna pull you up out of the crap. And
Yeah.
and he's a guy who's done it himself.
Yeah, it was
So
kind of a it was really a call to stand up and say,
yeah,
"Hey, I got your back. We got your back. The fans are going to have your back." But it was also like, "Hey, you need to do this."
yeah,
And it was inspiring, man. It took me a bit to really get out there and to do it. But man, the state of America, in addition with the failed assassination attempt
mm,
and the way I was raised, I just was like, man, enough is enough. I want people to know. And if they don't want me at their parties or their award shows or whatever it is, so be it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I'm not going to live my life based around tiptoeing around a couple gatekeepers when there's millions and millions of fans that think and feel exactly like I do. That's who I'm trying to get in touch with.
And talking about Jason, like you had a living example in Jason when Try That in a Small
Yeah.
Town came out. He was
Yeah.
already catching some flack, but
Yeah.
when Try That in a Small Town came out, I mean, the vitriol. I mean, they tried to crucify him. I mean, getting dropped by
Ridiculous.
management. And he is like, upper echelon. I mean, this dude has been around for a long time.
I
I
think
mean, he's
he's
been a
close to
star.
30 number ones, if not 30, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
mega
he is
star.
a hit maker, dude. And
Yeah.
you've lived in that stratosphere. You know what that's like, where it's like, boom. I mean, you're walking on red carpets and they're rolling it out for you. I mean, like Jason has been a hit maker, a star maker, a money maker. He's done all these
Yeah.
things. I mean, and then like boom, over one song, really, that they release a video over it and people are losing their freaking mind. So it's not like you didn't have a living example
Yeah.
who's a friend of yours that just went through it
Yep.
and you said, I'm just going to walk blindly through this door. Did you take any of that into? I know you did. I mean,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
much of that do you take into consideration and go, you know what? I know when Aaron Lewis,
Yeah.
when he and Ira Dean were talking about doing, putting out Am I the Only One? And I think Ira told him, he said, listen, you got to burn the boats at some point in time. I mean, they already don't like you. They already know which way you lean.
Right.
You can put out this, other fun song, or you can put out this thing that makes a statement and just go ahead and tell people this
Yeah.
is where you are. Did you
Yeah.
kind of come to that moment?
Yeah, I saw what happened with both of those songs, and I go, I'm just like both of those songs and those
Mm,
artists and those fans that are getting behind it. I'm just like them. I'm no different. And so the themes and the lyrics of "Make America Great Again," man, I knew that there's a lot of people that think exactly like me. I'm no different than the fans that listen to my music, that like "Make America Great Again," that like "Try That in a Small Town," or and am I the only one? I'm no different. My core values are God, family, country. I love working my butt off. I love my wife. I love our family. I love this world that we're creating together. And so just standing on that was, and just how I felt like I wrote the song. I felt like it was going to connect, and I felt like the people that got behind those songs are going to get behind this song.
yeah, and they did, dude. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the song. Proud of you for doing it. Tell me
I
something.
appreciate it.
I know you were a baseball player,
Yeah.
and when you were playing college ball, did you have any idea that this is where you'd be one day? And you're like, you know what? I mean, because again, I want to remind everybody, put it in perspective. This huge controversial thing we're talking about that everybody is wondering about right now. It's a song. It's a song. It's not a Supreme Court decision, right?
Right.
But
Right.
people get so stirred up over this stuff. Did you ever in a million years imagine that you'd be sitting here, having conversations like this, defending your music? I mean, when you're just a ball player back in Florida?
Once I got to college, I knew I wanted to be a songwriter. I went to Florida State my first 2 years. I redshirted my freshman year, didn't play much my second year really at all. Went back home to Daytona State College, ended up at Belmont in Nashville, Tennessee, my last 2 years of eligibility. Only reason I knew about Belmont, my dad graduated from there way, way back in
Mm,
the day. He's 81 years old. This was Southern Baptist Belmont, not what it is today. Belmont's great, but it was a total different time, a total different
yeah,
situation. And so finished up playing baseball there. But I knew, man, I wanted to be plugged into Nashville. I wanted to be a professional songwriter, and that was kind of my main goal, was being a songwriter. And I go, if I can have some success as a songwriter and I can put out some indie, solo music one day, that'd be great. I didn't move to town thinking I was going to be in a duo. I'm glad I was. It was a great
yeah,
experience. I'm forever grateful. I love what we created. Beyond grateful for the fans. It changed our lives. And now I'm at a place doing it solo, and it's I'm really loving it, man. I love challenging myself. I love continuing to honor myself, and to be able to freely speak, think, feel, create whatever I want is almost like a superpower now. It's so
mm,
different than being in a group or a duo. Both are great, but this time in my life, man, it's important to me to just continue to be myself, chase
yeah,
dreams, honor my calling, honor my voice, challenge myself with every record, with every song I put out. Try to, you know, always working on my voice, always working on my craft, and so I don't know if I ever thought I'd write a song like this, but looking back, how I grew up, kind of how I mentioned earlier, I'm not surprised. I was always, my first kind of songs I was writing, I've always written about what I'm going through and my feelings and
mm,
thoughts. I kind of started writing. My first love was country music, but the way it came out as a songwriter was like contemporary Christian, like some
yeah,
Casting Crown stuff, which I love them. They're amazing. And so that was kind of my, when I was redshirted at Florida State and the team would travel, I wasn't allowed to travel. I'd be in my little apartment, getting my emo feelings out on my little software program on my old Dell computer. It was a big old brick, and I'm in there just praying to God to get me through these tough times. And I've always done that. And so "Make America Great Again" is no different than anything I was doing in 2005. You know what I'm saying? I'm still that
yeah,
same guy writing about what I think, believe, and feel. And so I just want to stay on the path and the tracks of authenticity. And I think that's just all you can ask for in an artist. That's what country music is. And country music is the songs of the people.
hmm,
And maybe this may be a political song. I think it's country damn music.
yeah. No, I agree.
You
I
know?
agree. And it is. I have a bit that I do about country music. I always say, country music is about cheating, drinking, and dying. And it's and then I do a little spoof thing where I talk about my musical influences. And growing up, my grandfather always had Willie Nelson on in the truck, cassette tapes, and then there was the outlaw country, and then of course I as a child had a big stack of George Jones records,
Nice.
and I joke about being a 6-year-old boy running the needle through. He said, "I'll love you till I die," and he stopped loving her today. And I was like, boy, you want to talk about shaping angst
Yeah.
early on. And then I'd go over to my grandparents' house, and for some reason they had this box of cassettes, or they were 8 tracks, honestly, which dates me, but there were these Queen records in there on 8 track,
Yeah.
and so people were like, so you're telling me the Possum and Queen were your influences? And so I do this little medley bit where I sing in the form of George Jones, I sing Queen songs, and so
Nice.
it's a
I
funny
gotta
little
hear
mash
that.
on it. And I was like, well, you can make anything. You start singing Fat Bottom Girls like George Jones. It's a pretty country damn song.
Yeah.
So, but it's a big laugh, but it also makes a valid point, right? It's
That's
like
right.
you put the feeling in it and put the right stuff, and it can get country real quick.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's about good music. It's about good music. What makes people feel good? I don't think anything resonates with the soul deeper than being able to laugh at something. So comedy is an important thing.
Yep.
But music resonates in a depth psychologically with people that they can always recall it. Like you were just talking about Brian McKnight, and that the one song. I was just on a cruise with Mark Wills a couple of weeks ago, and every
Nice.
time I'm around Mark, I'm like, one, you're like a dream come
Yeah, he
true.
did it
And,
too.
and and I'm like, because it's his song too, right? And I'm
Yep.
and I'm sitting there, and he'll look at me and he'll go, "Would you stop singing that when you're standing here talking to me?" And I'm like, I can't. I
That's
can't. It
such a
just comes out
smash,
of me.
though. It really is.
Yeah, it just oozes out of you, right?
Yeah.
Because
Love some
it's
Mark
just
Wills.
there.
He's great. Man.
I love that dude. That he's a funny guy. I mean, incredible talent, unreal.
Yeah.
But we had a fun time performing together a couple of weeks ago, and he had a fun time making fun of me performing, which is what I always love to
Oh,
give from
great.
Mark.
Yeah.
But you guys opened a restaurant. Tell me, before I let you go, I want you to tell me
Yeah.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's going on down there in the Panhandle of Florida?
Yeah, so we bought an old little historic house that was called Bloom's Cafe, probably 3.5, 4 miles from our house here in Santa Rosa Beach, Grayton Beach, Florida. And my wife and I, we're entrepreneurs, we're creatives, we love architecture, design, and real estate, all those
Mm,
things, man. And so this project was kind of all of that in a blender. And another one of my wild ass ideas, hey babe, let's start a burger joint. And
mhm,
we bought this little piece of property. In 2020 during COVID, before real estate in Florida went absolutely insane. We got a pretty good deal on it, and we just kind of identified a need for a burger joint. Number one, number two, great location. Number three, we love something property with a story. So an old
mm,
historic little house, man. We ended up we jacked it up, moved it over, redid all the foundation, snapped it back over, and then just put a lot of love into it, man. So we kind of brought the new in with the old and mixed it up. And we had a great architect help us out, a great designer, and just it's an elevated burger, an elevated experience and design. We've got an amazing backyard deck under a bar around a massive magnolia tree, and it's just fun, man. It was something different for us, and it's not huge, man. It's something we kind of created something, honestly, to be totally transparent. We wanted to create something that we would go to and we would like
yeah,
to be at. We like smaller vibes. It's kind of divey but elevated. Great. It's foodie style burgers. We've got some great wings, and so we kind of conceptualized it. And we were having drinks here at a bar named Chiringo in Grayton with the Glavins, Tom Glavin and Chris, his wife, and Jason and Brittany
mhm,
Aldean. And we were kind of showing them some plans and some branding of it and all those things. And we were like, "Hey, y'all want to hop in and just be partners, and we can do this together?" And they were like, "Yeah, we're all in. Let's go." And so they're partners. They're great friends, and man, it's become a really cool place. This is our first summer open. We've been open, I think, since September. So first summer open, it's been pretty dang slammed, and I'm proud of our team and our crew and everybody. Um, I go there if I'm in town 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, I've been
yeah,
tearing it up, and I'll order like 2 or 3 burgers just because I'll have to check the quality control, make sure
Yeah.
everything's tasting right. But no, it's a good time. And speaking of what we were talking about earlier at the top of this episode, um, fall. You can find me this fall at Papa Surf Backyard Bar with a hoodie and some beer and some wings, watching football. Oh
I
man,
love it.
I am planning on it.
Yeah, listen. I'm gonna have to make a trip. I know I've got
Yeah,
some Florida shows coming up. I'm gonna come hang out.
yeah.
So when you mentioned football, I went to Georgia. Um,
UGA?
yeah.
I
So
didn't know that.
I'm a bulldog,
My
and
wife is too. Yeah,
yeah, I'm a bulldog, and I went there. All my money went there, and so yeah, they just came out. The coaches poll just came out at the time of this taping. They came out ranked number one. So we'll see how much we can screw that up.
man, y'all
Um,
y'all good. Y'all are solid, man.
Yeah,
It's
it's gonna be interesting to see. You still a
yeah.
Seminole fan?
Oh yeah, always,
Yeah,
always. That was a tough year last year. It was kind of ended in a little bit of a disaster. But hey, I think we'll have a good team this year. I love our coach. I know we
yeah,
had some players transfer. We got some new additions. I think it should be pretty solid. I think it's and I'm honestly excited. I don't think it's going to be done. I don't even know if it's going to be done this season. But the new stadium setup they're
yeah,
doing, I saw some renderings. So whenever that's done, that's going to be nuts. I know
yeah.
that's gonna be it's much needed too.
Yeah, all of this, the portals and all this stuff going on, it's changing the nature of college football in a big way, and I
Yeah,
don't, it's kind of disheartening to watch, but
yeah,
also get it.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a wild deal, man. I grew up. Everybody in my family except for me went to Clemson,
Oh
and so
snap!
we grew up Clemson fans, and I became the black sheep of the family by taking off and going to Georgia. And you know how that goes. And so we grew up in the ACC, which of course Florida State's in the ACC. So that was some huge
Yeah,
rivalries, watching that growing up, and I've always respected it. And hey, Tallahassee's a fun, you get down there, that's a fun little party
it's a
town
good
around
time.
FSU. So
Yeah.
yeah,
For a moment
yeah,
in time in high school, man, I had the smallest little uh I was thinking about going to Clemson. They were interested. I went up there for an unofficial visit, and I got up there. It was in the fall. Went to a football game, met with some of the coaches, and I was like, this is a beautiful campus, beautiful spot, but this
yeah,
is way too far away for me. I was like, man, I feel like I'm so far away. And at the end of the day, man, I was honestly waiting. I don't think I had an offer from Florida State at the time, but I was
yeah,
hoping, praying, waiting, because that was my dream school, man. Ever since I could walk and talk, we were going to Florida State football games. We had season tickets, and we would tailgate. We would wait for players to come out after the game, after they shower, get autographs. When I was in middle school, I would cry if we would lose a big game. I would shed tears. I was so into it, man. So lifelong fan for me. It was a dream
and
to go there for 2 years. A little heartbroken I didn't get as much playing time, but man, I attribute that all to where I am today, man. And just God's got a plan. He knew what he was doing, and I trusted it. To
yeah,
to as hard as it was to leave after my second year, knowing I wanted to be there, I knew it was my time to go. I needed to go somewhere else, and I'm really great. I did, man. I'm really glad I did. It was great for me. Life is going to have its ups and downs, and it's going to have its confusing times, but you lean on God. He's going to get you through, and it's all going to work out.
yeah. And then the next thing you know, you're back there playing stadiums. So it's funny how life comes around in a weird way for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was offered a baseball scholarship to Clemson as well,
Come
and went up
on.
there for the visit. I'd gone to Clemson a lot for as a kid growing up, going to football
Yeah.
games. But my deciding thing was, well, it was a girl, but I said, and I made the decision to go to Georgia. But I said I can't go to school in a pasture. I mean, if Clemson is so stuck out there in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
and
It
the
is
town's
beautiful
grown up.
though.
It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous campus.
Yeah.
I still listen. I was just home recently. I grew up in Augusta, Georgia. I was home recently. My family, my brother, immediately we go to college, start talking college football, and yeah, they still bleed orange and purple over
Oh
there.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
big time.
Well,
You,
Athens is a fun place too, man. I've been there a couple times back in the day for some football games with some friends.
yeah,
That place is rocking.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No.
In my experience there, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was a good time. It's a little bit different sort of culture there now, but as such, so what college town isn't really at
Yeah.
this point?
Yeah.
But man, you're killing it, and I appreciate your friendship, and I just
Back at you,
appreciate
brother.
everything that you're doing, man. And I want to get over there and eat some of those wings and some hamburgers. And yeah, dude, I'm just real thankful for what you're doing, and anything that I
Appreciate it.
can ever do to keep promoting it, I'm gonna keep on doing it. And I encourage everybody to get not only Make America Great Again. I mean, that needs to be an anthem in your home these next 100 days, but you need to you need to get Tennessee Truth and download it, buy it. Don't just whatever stream it, buy the thing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, because it's a wild day we're living in the music industry, man. And hey, I got to ask you before you go, I got to ask you because I know my answer to this. Give me, and I know I got to tell you another story. I got BK, hang on before you go. So we were at a Brooks, my girlfriend and I were at a Brooks and Dunn concert a couple of months ago.
Nice.
And she's feeling pretty good. She's had a couple.
Yeah.
And she looks at me in the middle of I'm like, I've seen Brooks and Dunn several times, been around them. And I'm like, this may be the last time I ever see a Brooks and Dunn concert. So I'm in it, I'm zoned in.
Yeah.
And she looks at me out of the clear blue, because I think she just was thinking about duos. And she goes, do you know why Florida Georgia Line broke up? And I go, basically, yeah. And she goes, why? And I go, can I listen to Boot Scootin' Boogie right now? Can we do that right now? She goes, no, tell me why. She goes, tell me why. Because and I said, no. She was getting mad at me because I didn't want to talk about you guys.
That's hilarious. Well, I wouldn't want to ruin a Brooks and Dunn concert talking about anything, really. I saw them last year at Coachella or Stagecoach, and
Yeah.
I was out with the fans, man, just partying, living it up. It was incredible.
I'm telling you, the first time I ever saw them live, gosh, it had to be like 2004 back in the day. And I think I was in Little Rock, Arkansas, and went to one of their shows sort of on a whim. And I immediately became a massive fan. But looking back on that, what is your favorite, just off the top of your head, what is your favorite FGL song? Because I know what mine is.
I'd say Cruise.
Cruise? That's a banger. I was listening to it the other day, as a matter of fact. We were coming home from San Antonio after doing a show.
Yeah.
And I would like to get the number of the girl that comes out of the lake at the very beginning of the video.
That's hilarious.
No, but I remember the first time I saw that video when it came out, I was like, okay. I love that song. I love Holy, dude. I'm telling you. Yeah. I can keep that thing rocking all the time. But you guys, y'all put out some fun music, man. And you're doing it now. There's no looking back. The windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror. And so I'm proud of everything you're doing, BK. So
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, bro.
Let
me know. Let's connect. Got to get you down here, man. I'll take you on a beach safari.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
And I know you're out there. You're performing. You're doing several festivals and different things that you're doing out there. So everybody it's Brian Kelley music, right?
Yes.
And that's BRI.
Yep, and Kelley with an EY. Yep.
And Kelley with an EY. So get over to the .com and check him out and find him. He'll probably be in your area. You're all over the country, so check him out. But
it may be Brian Kelley official, actually.
Let's look. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
This is my show. We can do whatever we want to do.
You can do what you want.
Yeah. So I, in the meantime, I can tell people to go to watchchad.com or chadprather.com, one or the other. If you search Chad Prather, all kind of stuff. It's official Brian Kelley.
Official Brian Kelley.
Officialbriankelly.com.
Yeah.
And you got your stuff going on. You got a bunch of stuff going on. So yeah. And y'all download it, watch the videos, all the kind of stuff. But anyway, brother, I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me. Thanks for your support, man. Anything I can do for you, please holler.
You're a blessing, man. Hey guys, listen. Don't forget ratings and reviews. Check out Brian, get all of his stuff, and share this episode with your family and friends. This was a fun one. Listen, in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Keep on praying. We love you. God bless you. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.